I knew what was going to happen, and they knew what was going to happen. And they knew that if it wasn't like 6 of them, or 4 or 5 maybe, he's going to go because he ain't going to quit. Kind of girlish for one guy to tackle me. I mean, I wanted to have a bunch of them.
When the toughest men to ever play in the NFL talk about power, pride, and punishment, one name always comes up first: Earl Campbell. Not because of hype, not because of flash, because every defender who faced him remembers the same thing: the sound of pads cracking, legs driving, and a runner who refused to go down. Legends tell stories about game plans built just to slow him, about teammates feeding off his fire, and about a man who carried the hopes of a franchise on his shoulders every Sunday. When he ran for the Houston Oilers, it wasn't just football. It was a collision of willpower and force. Today, NFL legends look back on a runner who didn't just gain yards, he took respect, snap after snap, and carved his name into the history of the game.
When he left University of Texas, he came on the scene. He was a star. And he was great from day one. When you look at Earl Campbell, the one thing that really kind of stuck out at you was his thighs. I mean, his thighs were enormous. He had a small waist, but his thighs were huge. A lot of guys wanted to try to tackle him low, but if you hit him in the thighs, you're going to bounce off of him. That's where the speed was. That's where the power was. That demoralizes a defense more than anything else. That 10-yard run where everybody took a shot at the guy and nobody had success. As a matter of fact, he ran over 1 or 2 of your guys in the process. You saw Earl Campbell, you saw defenses that feared him. Playing the Rams, he just put his helmet right in his chest and the guy just kind of folded. Another guy grabs his jersey, it breaks away. It was just kind of like a commercial. It's such a great play. The message that it sends is even greater. The next play, that defense is thinking, here he comes again. To be able to do that and have that type of stamina, to be that big of a man, that's nothing short of incredible.
When there was 4 minutes left of the game, we were ahead and we had the ball, it was over. You know, he ran so low that there was nothing to tackle.
You just could not tackle him with a hand or an arm now. You can forget that. In fact, you couldn't tackle him with a shoulder a lot of times, unless you had 2 or 3 sets of shoulders. He'd break into the open, he'd look somebody up to run over rather than look somebody up to dodge. We played Washington one year. I wish you'd look the film up or get somebody to look it up. He made a 9-yard touchdown run, and I swear I believe 7 people hit him in that 9 yards. It's the best run I ever saw him make. Hell, I don't believe he ever finished a mile run, but I've never seen a football field a mile long, so it didn't bother me. On 4th and a mile, we wasn't going to give him the ball.
Because greatness isn't just measured in touchdowns or rushing titles. It's measured in the way hardened veterans from across the NFL still pause when they hear the name Earl Campbell, remembering the hits, the noise, and the runner who never stopped driving his legs.
They would show him running the ball, then they would back it up in reverse and show all the people he had run over. I see him run over people, and then I see him run around him, and I never saw him get caught from behind.
But the hardest hit that Earl Campbell ever dished out was in the Astrodome against the Oakland Raiders in 1979. Jack Tatum got a running start, hit him, and then Jack went down. He felt really good because he hit Earl hard. Earl had spun around over the goal line, and Tatum said he looked around, there's Earl laying in the end zone smiling at him.
Earl Campbell, he was such a physical football player. Anytime that anybody ever hit Earl Campbell, it always hurt them a lot worse than it hurt Earl Campbell. He was the hitter. The other people were the ones that got the hit. Just a very, very powerful physical football player that could run over tacklers, always going toward the goal line. He was a true north-south runner.
I like to learn about Earl Campbell. Earl Campbell. I didn't realize how good Earl Campbell, like I said, you get to play for a long time with great teams and against great players, and you don't really realize how good these guys are until you get an opportunity to play for them. And they traded Dan Pastorini to Oakland, and I went to Houston, and I got to play for Bum Phillips, and I got to play with Earl Campbell. 5'11 and a half, 240, and just 40-pound heart, tough as a nail, run that high off the ground 100 miles an hour. You know, as tough as he can be. Nobody better than killing the clock. You know, with 2 minutes left in the game, you got to go kill 2 minutes, win the game. And we finally get ahead of Pittsburgh. We were in the Central Division of the AFC, and Pittsburgh dominated the AFC, you know. And we finally got ahead of them one day in Houston, and we got 2 minutes left in the game. And like I said, nobody better than killing the game than Earl Campbell. And so I give it to him 4 or 5 times in a row, 5, 6 times in a row, 6, 7 times in a row. First down, killing that clock. And I give it to him about the 7th, and it is turning his hat around every time. I formation, Earl Campbell didn't have any moves. He had one move, go look for somebody to run over. That was the only thing Earl did, as you well know. And so I give it to him that 9th time, you know, and they're just turning his head around every time I give it to him. I give it to him 9 times in a row. And he comes back to the huddle a lot like Marv. He's looking out of his ear hole, and he's just dazed. He comes staggering by me and bumps into me, and he says, "Hey, Snake, how about throwing one?" Earl Campbell.
Defenses loaded the box, linebackers filled every gap, safeties crept down before the snap, and it still didn't matter. Because when Earl Campbell lowered his shoulder, entire game plans crumbled, and the momentum of the game shifted one brutal carry at a time.
It was his 38th carry of the ball game, and we were ahead. All we wanted to do is make a first down and run the clock out. And we gave him a routine pitch out, and he went around the end and ran 89 yards with all the secondary people chasing him. And they're fast kids, but they couldn't catch him.
40 at the 50, he may go.
He ran 89 yards on the 38th carry of the ball game. That gives you an idea of his stamina.
I never felt like that he carried the ball too much, and he didn't either. Believe me, every time Earl carried the ball, he wanted to carry it. And he's so good, if he wants to carry it, you let him carry it. And he never got hurt. He hurt people. He didn't get hurt.
We had pretty simple game plans. I'd look at him in the huddle and say, "You tired?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "I'll throw a couple." I remember one time we were playing the Rams in the Astrodome. Isaiah Robertson was coming in to knock him down and finish him off type of thing. And Earl headbutted Isaiah right in the chest. And the next thing to hit the ground was the back of Isaiah's head. And I'd known Butch, as we called him, for years. I kind of looked down at him laying on the ground and said, "What do you think about that, Butch?"
He was just a great player and had a huge heart. Control the game on offense and eat up 4 or 5 minutes of the clock and carry the ball 10, 15 times in a row, and the 15th time would be just as hard as the first.
We were at an autograph show in Ohio. It was the first time I ever went to an autograph show with my dad, because he never let the kids go to these autograph shows and meet all these people. He never wanted that. So it was a spotlight that we never got to see, so I finally got to see it when I graduated from college. And Jim Brown is backstage. And for me as a kid, I was raised to say that Jim Brown was the greatest. He was the best. Jim Brown tells me, and he tells everybody else that's up there, best running backs. You put Jim Brown first, and you put Earl Campbell second. The rest of them, you can put them in line any way that you want to. Jim Brown saying, "My dad's second, the rest you can put them wherever you want to." I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it.
Every generation produces stars, but only a few force the league to change how it thinks about stopping the run. Coaches studied him, defenders braced for him, and fans rose to their feet knowing something unforgettable was about to happen.
He's the only guy I ever saw come into our locker room before the game and had his girdle on and everything, and everybody's looking at his legs. It was like, wow. One guy cannot bring Earl Campbell down. It takes 2 guys to bring Earl Campbell down. We were playing in a Mile High Stadium, and it was 3rd and long. Earl pops through, and Steve Fuller hit him right in the thigh, delayed him just for a pause, and then he just kept on moving.
I stayed at the Ramada Inn in Tyler, Texas, room 164, for 17 days for $12 a night. He was the most dominant high school football player I had seen, and probably ever seen.
In the end, greatness leaves more than records. It leaves respect. From defenders who still feel those hits to teammates who watched him carry the fight every Sunday, The legends of the NFL all tell the same story about Earl Campbell. He ran with power, pride, and a heart that never backed down. Every carry was a message, every yard was earned. And for the Houston Oilers, he wasn't just a running back, he was the identity of a team and the soul of an era. Years pass, highlights fade, new stars rise. But the respect never leaves. Because when football remembers toughness, when it remembers determination, when it remembers what it means to fight for every inch, Earl Campbell's name is always there. A legend's legend, forever part of the game.